the mics are being very creative this morning, and so we'll do our best. And so are the lights. Where to go in this vertigo world, this centrifugal world? I sigh and try to drop to the eye in the center of the swirl. From this place of vast inner space in the belly of the whale, I meet the face that illuminates, liberates the nightingale to fly beyond the maelstrom, above the battleground, between dove wings of wisdom, compassion pouring down. There's no spacious here in this human sphere as we ride the spiral's curl. You try to steer, the road disappears as the mystery unfurls. So we root the feet, give the mind a seat. Why race the rivers flow? The ride is sweet where the channel is deep, and your heart knows where to go. High above the maelstrom, beyond the battleground. Dolphin song of freedom dispels all other sound. In this new year, we are gathered here to remember why we've come, what we bring, what song we sing, and to synchronize our drums. Where two or more are gathered in a core, congregate in love. The truth will grow, knowing what it knows, and if push comes to shove, we'll walk through the maelstrom, across the battleground, moving steady, strong and firm, without a sound. Love through the maelstrom and consecrate this ground. Light fills night, and in its sight we rest in what abounds. Though darkness may surround, we pass the light around. We pass the light around. Love through the maelstrom.
Wow.
Michou, have you been here so long that you have forgotten to stand and receive our appreciation? Thank you, Anna. It's interesting. We get into a habit of something happening, and we don't even necessarily stop to think about it.
emotion being expressed. And not even stop to think about the gift of that appreciation. So for those of you who haven't been here before, it is customary for me to haul out one of our very exquisitely talented musical guests, or Joseph, and say, wait a minute, stand here and receive. Stand here and receive our love, our joy. I'm Reverend Ann Ray, and I am the very delighted, always, Senior Minister of the Everyday Center for Spiritual Living here in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And I welcome all of you this morning. Hi, Everyday.
Hi.
So yes, we are talking about working our faith muscles. Right? And today we're talking about one of my very favorite subjects. We're talking about my lane. What is my lane? Well, the really great thing to know is that we came with our lane. Now, there's lots of things that we came with that we don't realize because it took us a while to discover them. In fact, some of them we're discovering still. But our lane is one of the things that we came with. What does that mean, our lane? Our lane is our path. It's our road to travel. And even though we travel the road with others, each of us has our lane. Each of us has our own path. Each of us has our own path which is illuminated just for us, where we put one foot in front of the other, one foot in front of the other, and lead with love. We put one foot, oh yeah. That happens to me all the time. You should live with me. No. Anyway, it's our path. Now, what happens sometimes, why is it so important to talk about our path? It's important to talk about our path so that we realize its importance. And we realize what happens when we get into somebody else's path. We may not even know when we're in somebody else's path because we're so used to being there. It can be a friend, it can be a relative, it can be both. It could be people we don't even know. And we end up in their path.
It could even be a minister.
It could even be a minister. But you know me. And we end up in their path, and usually when we end up in their path, we're in judgment. Usually when we end up in their path, we want to tell them what to do and how to do it, and how things would be better if they only would follow our ideas, our perspective. That's what happens when we end up in somebody else's path. That's kind of a simplification, but we're all familiar because I'm willing to guess that every single one of us has been there and done that. I know I have, because I knew better. You know, you don't end up in somebody else's path if you don't know better. Right?
Right.
And our idea of knowing better really needs to be applied here. Our idea of knowing better is wasted in someone else's lane. In fact, our energy, bless you on the truth, our energy spent in someone else's lane is wasted.
Yes.
And we don't want to do that. We want to live this life to its fullest, don't we?
Yes.
Well, living this life to its fullest, to our greatest capacity at any given moment, does not include wasting our energy in someone else's path.
Right.
Now, that having been said, the thing about being in someone else's path is a habit.
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
It's a habit. That's all it is. And you know what's interesting about habits? Habits have no power of their own. Habits have no power. You know, I hear people say, well, there's this part of me that just goes to this place. That goes to this place of judgment, or goes to this place of deciding what somebody else should do, or goes to this place of knowing what political leaders should do, or whatever it is. There's this part of me. No, there's not. I have big news. There is not a separate part of you anywhere.
Exactly.
You are one whole, complete, perfect, ideal, treasured, beloved in the life of God. In the one life, the one power, the one spirit, the one universe, whatever you want to call it. I have no attachment to any particular name. You can call it Harold or Sydney. I have a friend who's very attached to Sydney. Because it doesn't care. You know, the whole idea that you either can or cannot use the G word belongs with certain faith traditions, and we are not that. We are a philosophy.
Right.
And we respect and regard and give room and acceptance to all faith traditions. All, as Ernest would say, you know, Ernest and I were on first name basis. Ernest would say, all paths to that one life. All paths. That's another place where this alleged part of you shows up and says, well, they don't know what they're doing. You know, they aren't acting like whatever they say they are. Well, tell me something. Do you act like what you say you are every day? Every moment of every day? Do you think like what you say you believe every moment of every day?
No.
So, what did Jesus say about that? He said, let he cast the first stone, right? Who never strays from that perfection. So none of us really qualify. Well, some of us are close. But I'll tell you what. As Kermit the Frog would say, it ain't easy being green. You know, being a human being, sure, we're whole, perfect, complete. We are inseparable in the life of the one. We're all of those things, including human. And it is our humanity, not to make it bad or good, it just is, because our humanity is what facilitates us having the opportunity, listen to these words now, it is our humanity that facilitates our opportunity to reveal the presence as us. I'm going to say that again. It is our humanity that facilitates us, each of us, every one of us, and everything, having the opportunity to reveal, by means of us, the presence. So it isn't, there's this part of me that blah, blah, blah. It's all one. And our human brain, for all of its brilliance, it is brilliant, you know. Brilliant. You just try to do all the things it does, all by yourself, without it. Forget about it. You can't do it. Our human brain collects things. Now, I'm not going to say like Pigpen, because that isn't exactly what I mean, but sort of like Pigpen. Do you all know Pigpen?
Yes.
From the Peanuts cartoons? And this cute little guy who runs around with this collection behind him of residue, I'll call it. Well, we each have our own collection of residue. We just dress up a little better. But we each have our own collection of residue. And that residue is what contributes to the thought that there's this part of us that judges blah blah, or thinks blah blah, or feels blah blah. That's residue. That's residue from early programming. That's residue from other people's input. An example. Just an example. I know a couple of someones, at least two, who can't understand why they're all riled up about the news when they have the news on all day. I'm not saying any news in particular. I'm just saying all day. And they're all riled up about the news, and they don't know why. And if I, in my perfectly ministerial voice, say, well, have you thought about watching less of it? Oh, I couldn't do that, because then I might miss something. It's their lane.
That's right.
That's their lane. Now, each of us is working on something right now. We have a project, we have something internally that we're working on, whatever it is. First of all, make sure it's yours.
Right. Yeah.
Make sure it's really yours. Because sometimes we can end up in somebody else's lane because they invited us.
Right.
And then we may think, well, they invited us. Oh, let's see. What can I do with this? What I can do with this is I can say, thank you very much. This is your lane. And I support you unconditionally. You tell me what would feel supportive to you, and you got it. But it's your lane. It's your lane. Now, the connection between my lane, your lane, our lane, and working our faith muscles. Well, actually, the connection is quite deep. But I'll start with the shallower part. It's easier to be in their lane. It's easier to be distracted. It's easier to just wander over there and go, oh, well, you know, any sentence that starts, well, you know. I mean, that should be a flag.
Yes. Absolutely.
If you, and I don't care, practitioners, if we dress it up as you, because we do that. If you, as you, when you, whatever. The minute we say you, we're in their lane.
That's right.
So how about if I, when I, as I focus on my lane, as I care for and tend to my lane, how do we do that? We make it a priority. We put it first. Yeah, I'm saying put yourself first. I know, I hear it. The chatter from the ones who have gone before who said, don't be selfish, or that's selfish, or, you know, you need to think of others. I hear the chatter. This isn't about not thinking of others. This is about being our best self with others. And the only way we can do that is to work our own faith muscles in our own lane. Don't I get it? You tell it, sister?
Yeah,
To
yeah.
get a joy. That's the only way we have anything to give of quality. Assuming we've been asked.
Yes.
Assuming we've been asked. Assuming we've been invited. Assuming that someone, I mean, when I say to someone, how can I support you? It goes way beyond how. It's what would feel supportive to you. Because the truth is, if I think I know what would feel supportive to Patty, I'm making stuff up.
Right.
I'm totally making stuff up. I'm operating from my own perspective, from my own life experience, and I am deciding what would feel helpful for Patty. I'm out of my lane. But if I ask her, what would feel supportive to you? She has an opportunity to ask for what she wants, which may be nothing.
Right.
And then I have to live with that. That is also working our faith muscles. I know. I am talking to a room and an internet full of people who think they're doing a great job of staying in their lane. And what I'm asking is for you to look again. Look again at where your thoughts go. One of my favorite quotes of Ernest Holmes is, "Let me stand guard at the gate of my thoughts, at the gate of my mind." Because all of that old stuff, just like Pigpen's little ball of random, it just, or rando, as one of our friends would say, it just kind of shows up. And off we go. As if we had no control. And as Patty spoke of so beautifully in her reading, it's not that we have no control. It's what we have control of.
Yes.
And what we have control of is this. Your homework for this week, because of course you knew there would be some, is, you know, that little ball of random stuff doesn't need any help from you. It's just a collection of random stuff. What needs your work and your workout is to strengthen. You know, there's a lot of emphasis in exercise videos and so on about strengthening our core. That's what I'm talking about, is strengthening the core of our faith. And remembering that where we put our attention changes everything. And so it is.
And so it is.
As our brilliant musicians are arriving, I would I would appreciate it if Joseph would raise his left hand. And everyone would notice and appreciate that Joseph is providing music, accompaniment, so much for our service, as always, with a broken finger today. And practitioners, if you have anything happening, including you, Miss, if you have anything happening after service, I'd like for you to postpone your departure for a moment and be part of the circle, because we're going to surround Joseph and include Jim, who is also going through a healing process for a special prayer.
Yes. Yes, yes.
Hang in just 1 second. Occasionally we have something shift in our community or in one of our personal lives, and I do a sacred honoring. I offer a sacred honoring. And this morning, I am offering a sacred honoring for my mother-in-law. Donna Forlizzi made her transition just a couple of days ago. And it was a long journey, as they so often are. But she was surrounded by love. We had been with her just a few days before, and it was a peaceful transition. And what I know for Donna is her departure was one wherein she could no longer be the container for her spirit, which had become far too great for this human vessel. I know that she journeys into her next adventure, continuing in that peace and always knowing the love that she had here. Thank you.
And so it is.
And I just want to acknowledge that Joseph and I arrived here this morning, both of us with a lot going on in our lives and bodies. And I didn't even notice Joseph's finger. He didn't mention it to me. I didn't even notice it until Anne pointed it out. So with contrition, I just want to bow to Joseph. Yeah. Human.
Body and mind in each child. I hear my heart in the din of this dark carnival. Where is the voice I can always trust when I hear its call? Child, blessed child, sing your song, note by note as it comes to you, child, vibrant child, no one sings alone. Child, oh my child, all is well, you are right where you need to be, luminous pearl, shining in the sea. You